Hey everybody, today we have a very exciting project and I hope you'll be excited about it too because we're making pasta from scratch. I know, right? Very cool. So I put on my fancy shirt today because we're going to be a little bit fancy. I am making ravioli, and in that ravioli is going to be tomato choka. So we're blending the foreign with the local and bringing it together to make something absolutely beautiful. I can't wait. Welcome to Quarantine in the Kitchen. Alright guys, I hope you have a pen and paper ready because we have a laundry list of ingredients. But we're going to start with the tomato choka first, then we'll go into the pasta ingredients. So over here we have some chives, followed by 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Then we have a large onion, 12 cloves of garlic, 5 tomatoes, 1 bunch of shadow benny, 5 pimentos and 4 limes. Then we have a half cup of olive oil here, followed by just about a tablespoon of cumin. Now for the pasta ingredients. We have salt and pepper as needed. We have 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 eggs, and 1 cup of flour. The flour goes a long way, so you don't need much more than that. Alright, so the first thing we're going to work on is our pasta dough because it takes the most time and it actually needs some time to rest. So you start off with your cup of flour, you make a well in the middle of it, and the reason is coming up right now. Okay, so you make a little space there. You're going to crack your eggs and you're going to go directly in your bowl in the middle of that nice well you just made. That's 1. That's 2. So just give it a little peek, make sure you didn't get any eggshells in there. Eggshells are the worst thing to bite into, I hate it. Alright, so the next thing you're going to do is add your olive oil. Olive oil makes the pasta so fragrant, so perfumed, it's really nice. That's why I love it. You can use vegetable oil as well because olive oil is a bit pricey. So to cut down costs, you can use some vegetable oil if you want to. The flavor will be different, of course. Now I'm just adding some salt. You could sprinkle it to your liking. I like a little more salt, so I'm adding about 3 pinches there. And you're gonna work with your fork now. Start with your fork, that makes your life a lot easier. And you break the yolks first, and then from the middle, you start stirring to start your dough. Notice I don't have water here. I don't need it just yet. I will only use a little water if it's necessary. So as I stir, what you're trying to do is incorporate the flour with the oil and the eggs very slowly. And as it comes together, it'll start pulling a dough. Again, if I need some water, I'll just add a little as needed, but I'm trying to put as little water as possible. Traditionally, they would use either durum wheat or semolina flour to make pasta, but I'm using all-purpose flour, and that's just as well. It gives a different texture, but you get a really nice end product. So as it is now coming together, as we see here, and I may just need a little extra dusting flour so that I could work with it a little easier. But it looks really good so far. Alright, so my pasta dough is resting. I don't want to waste any time. So in the meantime, I'm going to work on my tomatoes. They're going to go in an oven at 550 degrees on broil to get a char on the outside. So I have 5 tomatoes here. It's going on the tray and directly into the oven. Alright, now it's time for some knife work with the ingredients for tomato choka. The next step is our shadow benny pesto. We're going to add the olive oil to the blender. Everything just goes in the blender for this one. It's really easy. And you'll be surprised how delicious it is. Then the garlic, followed by the shadow benny, of course. And you just want a little salt for flavor. This goes in the blender, blitzes for maybe 30 seconds and you're good to go. So we're going to use a little of the lime juice to adjust the acidity. After that, we're going to see how it goes. We may not use all of it. Alright, all the the aromas wafting around this place are amazing, and the tomatoes are still in the oven going. So in the meantime, it's clean up time. All right, so with a little support from support, see what I did there, right? So my dishes are clean. It's time to take the tomatoes out of the oven. Super hot, so I'm going to transfer them to a bowl. Nice char happening here. Alright, so we're going to cut these up. After that, we are going to start the actual process where we're going to cook all these aromatics and add the tomatoes to that. It's going to be amazing. We just want a rough cut on that because it's very rustic and it's very traditional, so we're gonna do it that way. And now we go over to our stove. Alright, so I have my full setup. First goes the oil. Nice and hot. Followed by a cumin. You actually want these to start infusing with the oil a little. Now aromatics go in, which is our garlic and onions. Again, the smells in here are insane. Up next are our tomatoes. And you keep the skins on there because you want the charred flavor. Alright, so a splash of lime juice goes in there. Followed by some salt and some pepper to taste. I like salt, and tomato choka tends to be a little acid, so I try to balance the acidity with some salt. And finally, some black pepper. Big fan of black pepper myself. And this is almost done. Alright, this looks like it's about done, so we're going to turn this off and set it aside to cool completely. Okay, now comes the exciting part to make our homemade pasta. So you're gonna need a bowl with some dusting flour, you need your dough obviously, and a rolling pin. This is gonna be your best friend. Now, some people think you can only do it with a pasta machine, but that's not true. You could actually do it with a rolling pin, but you're gonna need some elbow grease. So the first thing you do is dust your surface, all right? Then you wanna actually dip your dough into the flour as well to start off. That way you'll have no sticking happening from the beginning. You want to do the same to your rolling pin. And then you start the rolling process. Now, if this piece is too big for you to handle, you could cut it in half, roll half of it, and then roll the other side. But now we start. You want to roll in both directions and try to get it as even as possible. And now to keep that square shape, you actually want to roll diagonally. So you roll up and down diagonally one direction, followed by the other direction. And that would generally maintain a square shape. What you're really looking for is about 2 millimeters in thickness. Alright, now I'm going to use the circular cutter to cut out my little raviolis. But if you don't have one of these and you have a glass at home, you can use that as well. And guess what? Same size. So I'm going to do some with this glass, just to prove my point, because everybody can do this at home. And the cutter does it just as well. Now it's time to stuff the ravioli with my tomato choka. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be delicious. Can't wait. My water is boiling right now, so that could happen in the background. But for now, we're going to stuff it. You're going to need some water to wet your fingers. And we have all our ravioli cut out. And the tomato choka, of course, which is cool now. Alright, here we are being all fancy today. See why I wore this nice shirt? Because we have a really nice dish in front of us. At the base, we have the shadow beni pesto, and with that, we have that tomato choka filled ravioli with the pasta we made from scratch. Bet you're gonna feel proud when you do yours. And we're pairing this today with Lashley's exotic wine, the sorrel flavor to be exact, so that should go really well. I'm going to enjoy this, and for now, that's a wrap for Quarantine in the Kitchen.
Quarantined in the Kitchen, brought to you by Lashley's Exotic Wine, a product of LLW Holdings Limited, and Support Dishwashing Liquid, manufactured by JMac Industries Limited, a local business based in Tobago.